don't know if it was that good. I mean, we still had some glitches in the run game, and we were, Landry played well, and protection was good. We were more physical, and we played faster. We didn't have a lot of negative plays, which was nice, but I think we got in good rhythm. Got Florida State a little bit on their heels. And I just think maybe being new in their transition of defensive staff, maybe, they're just, we're maybe not quite up to the speed that they're going to be at. So, maybe we had a little advantage being, a little farther. We had held some stuff, so we had some new stuff at them that maybe forced them to not, be as attack-oriented as maybe they needed to be. But, again, we need to do a lot better. I mean, again, we were the team that was god-awful a week ago, and you guys are looking at me like I'm a dunce. So we're that same team too now. So it wasn't like it was that good. I mean, you sit there and, you can look at numbers, and we executed okay. What's nice in a couple games, we haven't had a lot of significant turnover issues. We've had 3, which is 3 too many, but we've not forced a throw, and we haven't had guys casual with the ball. And that's huge in this game because Air Force is a ball-controlled team, so you don't get as many opportunities. The game goes fast. They hawk the ball pretty good defensively. They're pretty opportunistic there. And then when they get it, they run the ball. The game gets shorter. So we've been pretty good in not taking care of the ball. That's been good. We had a lot more negative. We had much fewer negative plays. That was great. But we still got to run it better. Again, some of the run got taken away because of the way Florida State loaded the box. We threw bubble passes, which is a part of the run game. Pass stats look good. The run stats look bad, but that is a part of the run game. So, but we got a lot of work to do. It's not like, again, we've, quote, arrived. We just, we had good rhythm. Guys executed well. We played well, but it's a long way from being a good team right now. That was a good showing, but we're not a good team yet. We're working at it, I think.
Kevin, last year you talked about using Trent kind of as an extra receiver. Do you see the way that James and Trent played against Florida State, that's finally given Landry a legitimate tight end in the offense?
I mean, they caught 2 passes. So, I mean, it ain't like we're going to them all the time. So, again, tight end catches 1 ball, and it's a good game. Trent wasn't near good enough in the run game blocking. He was not very good in the run game as a blocker, and everybody talks about, well, you're lying. Well, he probably had graded as poor as anyone, not putting him down. He's a heck of a kid and does a great job for us. So that's not negative on him. But, those guys were trying to get him more involved, but the reads went their way. There were plays in the first game where maybe they didn't catch the ball, but they were part of the progression, and the quarterback didn't get there. Coverage took them to the other side. So they're still not Jermaine Gresham, which no one or few guys ever going to be that kind of guy that are prolific go-to pass threats, but we are trying to get them involved. We did have more guys catch the ball. That wasn't by design. That was just the rhythm of the game. And I wouldn't have told you before the game we're going to have 9 or 10 or 12 guys catch the ball. It's just you get going. We start playing guys. Coach Norvell's playing more receivers. Kell's playing a couple running backs. We're playing a couple tight ends. So the numbers look like it's balanced, but it was just the attack and the way Landry distributed the ball and Landry taking what was there. The touchdown that Trent Rattery caught was a check down where it was actually covered. Nothing was there. He threw a proper pass short. Then Trent did a great job getting into the end zone because it really wasn't there. And that was just a nice play by Landry because the play ended up being covered that we had called. So.
You got Austin Hayward in the game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we wanted to get him earlier in the week before he had a slight, pull muscle where he couldn't practice a couple of days, so I didn't think he was ready. But we still need that tight end presence carry that you're talking about, and it needs to be better, and we're going to keep trying to build on that. And so, they had 2 balls last week. Maybe they'll get none. Maybe they'll get 4, 5, or 6 this game. We want to try to get them involved, and we think Austin could be a part of that. Again, the way the game went early, we're playing well. Didn't know if he was quite ready. By the time he was in there, he's pretty good in the passing game, but we're in a little bit more of a run mode trying to finish the game up last week. So we'll kind of keep bringing him along. I think we'll need all 3 guys through the course of the year, so that's why we went ahead and played. And we would have played him game 1. He just, was dinged a little and couldn't practice.
Bob has talked about playing an Air Force offense like they're preparing for now as kind of a disruption for the defense. Do they do anything that is so odd that it's a disruption for you in preparing for Cincinnati and Texas?
No, well, I mean, they play, they're basically a 3-man front. They do move some to a 4-man, which they just, move a guy inside, and one of their linebackers puts his hand down. But Utah State in the opener was primarily a 3-man front, some 4, but a lot of 3. Texas throws some of that at you now, some combination of 3 and 4. I'm sure other teams that we will play, a lot of people do it in passing deals, but some teams are doing it more in normal down. So they're a 3-man front. Our defense, has done it some in practice, so it's something we need to get used to. And I'm not saying it's going to be we go after this defense the same we would other opponents, but it's a 3-man front. To me, the deal with this defense, though, is, they're very quick. Everybody talks about they're having great kids at Air Force and their character and their discipline and whatnot, but, these guys, these guys are trained to go to war. So they're not sissies now. They're trained to kill people. So they play hard, violent, fast. They fly around. They got a little guy there buzzing. There's a bunch of blue hat or white hats with a little bolt on the side flying to the ball. Their two corners were all league last year in Mountain West. And you got TCU with great speed, and you got Fresno, and we saw BYU in person, and their one corner's first team, their other corner, they're fast. Their corners are very fast, which give them some advantage. So not an oversized defense, but quick, active, little nose guard in there buzzing around. Their best defensive player, possibly, his sister plays softball out here, a girl named Ricketts. She's a pretty good softball player, they say, and he's leading their team in tackles, their DN, number 90. So that's a unique story. I think his other sister played here. I think he's from San Jose. But again, they'll present a challenge in that they're active, and they're a little bit unusual, Dean, with that three-man front all the time. So if you bust the combo or go the wrong way or have a negative play and get off schedule, then they put that ball control offense out there, and all of a sudden you play a game with 9 or 10 possessions where you're used to playing 13, 14 possessions in a game. You're used to getting the ball 3 or 4 times a quarter, and you might get it twice. So the key is you got to be don't give them anything, and you better get points and execute when you got it. And you know that from all the years of watching. It's a different style, but the true option that was ran here. That thing gets rolling, and it's like it's a short game, and they put up a lot of yards and points. So it's a great team atmosphere, the way they present a challenge as a team, the way their offense complements their defense, and vice versa.
Who played well on the offensive line Saturday?
I think Ben Habron was pretty solid. Got to keep him coming. Jarvis Jones did a nice job coming at tackle. Eric was okay, but can do a little bit better. And I think the other guys were just okay. We got to keep those guys coming. That's still, it's a little bit more positive than it was, but it's still a little bit off. Just our ability to sustain some aiming points and get some creases. We're getting 2 and 3 sometimes when there's a little bit more money in there. We need to kind of keep working on that. We got to, we didn't, again, they might have forced us to throw a little bit more, but we have to run it much better, and that's the disappointing thing is Saturday as well as we played. We weren't, and not that we're trying to be bland and run it all the time, but we got to run it more effectively than we did Saturday.
How are you right now compared to where you were last year?
Oh, we're much better.
I'm talking about the
With the
offensive
line,
line.
we're much better, yeah, we're much, it's just a better attitude. It's still a work in progress. You got, Mensick still, got 4 games under his belt as a tackle, and Donald Stevenson, that was game 2, and, Habron has a year, Gabe Eichert's first time in there playing a lot. So there's a lot of youth, with that crowd. So there's a little bit of, to me, some growing. The experience of the offense is, in my opinion, the tailback with DeMarco and Moses, and then Ryan Broyles. Everything else is, it's a youthful crowd. The tight, everybody's got 1 year. You don't have 2 and 3 year vets out there. You got 1 year or less. So there's some learning curve. There's some learning how to play with confidence. We talked about that last week. We thought we were a little tentative. And there's learning how to go out on the field and trust yourself and cut it loose. And we were much better. We played a lot faster Saturday than we did the week before. We weren't good all the time, but we played faster. And I don't mean our 40 times. We were just running faster, coming off the ball, we're more assertive, more positive in the way that our kids attacked that team.
So it worked. You felt that they responded to the notion of cutting it loose.
Yeah, it looked that way. Again, we still have some glitches, and we'll need it this way because to me, that's the way Air Force plays from a defensive perspective. Offensively, they do their assignment deal with the options and make you kind of slow down, but defensively, they play fast and aggressive, and it's little guys, and they can talk about how undersized they are, but you look at the frame, and there's 7, 8, 9 of those guys, standing by the ball every time. They're not getting whacked on the ground. When they do, they're used to scrambling the foxholes or whatnot, so they're up buzzing around. They're not, they don't sit there and lay. These guys fight now. It's going to be a tremendous challenge to have a run game, protect the quarterback. Their corners are very physical. They attack those bubble screens. You guys know the bubble screen. These guys watching tape, they blow them up, and they're used to selling out and throwing their body around. It's what they do for a living. So that's how they play. So, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, but you guys ought to watch some tape of these cats. They're trying to make them up bigger than they are. These guys are a heck of a solid. They're really good.